Akarja, friends, this vote, I believe, today will influence the European Parliament's vote next week. And if the Parliament refuses to give its consent to Brexit, then Guy Verhofstadt is absolutely right. The Withdrawal Agreement and the Protocol in relation to Ireland will not enter into force, and Britain will crash out of the EU. And therefore, one way or another, Brexit is happening. And some of those parties coming up to the last election who claimed they were going to stop Boris and stop Brexit. No one stopped the Brexit juggernaut that is going to hit us all hard, but especially and primarily the people of Ireland and the people of the north of Ireland. So the choice is today to vote between an orderly withdrawal or a crash. Now, Sinn Fein has always said there is no good Brexit. And the protocol on Ireland, we assessed it, we analysed it, we worked for some of it, and we viewed it as the least worst option. Now, I have done my utmost in this committee to ensure that MEPs have understood the Good Friday Agreement in all of its parts. Given that Brexit is absolutely incompatible with the Good Friday Agreement in any of its parts, and anyone who is going to intend to vote against this withdrawal agreement next week is given consent, and they need to do it with eyes wide open, is given consent for custom posts and barbed wire on the British border partition in Ireland. So let's not throw that away at the last hurdle. The majority of the people of the north of Ireland voted to remain within the EU from all communities and backgrounds. And the people of the north of Ireland were guaranteed that there would be no constitutional change to the Good Friday Agreement unless we consented to it. Well, we did not consent to this. And whilst we are relieved, without doubt, that there will be no hardening of the border in Ireland, throwing MEPs out of this Parliament against the democratically expressed wishes of the people of the North is undemocratic, and the denial of EU rights and entitlements that will follow will ultimately be disastrous for our society. Brexit undermines the Good Friday Agreement, and it does damage our economic future. As one of the Sinn Féin leaders and as the head of the Sinn Féin delegation here in the European Parliament, I have stood up for what is right, ensuring that this Parliament and MEPs from across the groups have understood the Good Friday Agreement and what it would mean to Ireland. And I've sat down and I have talked to hundreds and hundreds of MEPs on a one-to-one basis. Now, listening to the British Prime Minister last evening, some of you may have heard him in the Parliament when he was asked a question about honouring the Withdrawal Agreement and whether there would be unfettered access for goods coming from Britain into the north of Ireland. And his response was, emphatically, there would be. I can say to the MEPs that have been listening throughout this process that some of you shouldn't be surprised that Boris Johnson now is assessing and is telling people that there will be no checks on the Irish Sea. No one knows the British establishment better than us. And we warned people how they negotiate. And just to repeat, because I've said it quite often, the British establishment, when they're in negotiations with you, they find out what your bottom line is. They then tell you that they sign off on an agreement with you, and they walk out the door and they negotiate downwards and try to start a fresh negotiation. So do not be surprised at those comments yesterday, because that's the form and pattern. That's true to form. So what I would ask in terms of colleagues and friends here, that there is a need to remain vigilant in the time ahead, particularly at European level. And the partition of Ireland is not only now a problem for the Irish people, it is a problem for Europe too, and partition must end. We in the north of Ireland have a legally endorsed democratic pathway back into the EU, contained in an international agreement lodged at the United Nations. So if you intend to honour your pledge to uphold the Good Friday Agreement in all of its parts, that includes that part of the agreement that enables us to return to the EU. So as I leave here, and this is my last AFCO committee meeting that I have a chance to discuss this all with you, and as I prepare to be evicted next week from the European Parliament, I want to thank you all for your steadfast support for the people of Ireland, and I asked you not to abandon us at the time ahead. I asked you to remain vigilant, to keep that solidarity and support. I want to acknowledge the work that was done by Guy Verhofstadt. I want to give a particular mention to our chair and the chair of the last mandate, Danuta Hübner, who's a commissioner and who actually visited Ireland and visited the north of Ireland and understood what was happening there. And I hope that for many of you that you have found my role in this committee somewhat constructive. I hope you found it informative. And I'm sure for some of you, you have found it a little bit challenging at times. And I want to say, as you travel your way through the rest of your mandate in the years ahead, that you do have a duty to build a future that stands on a platform of democratic values. And that includes upholding the articles in the treaty that you do no harm to international agreements. And dare I say it, of course that includes the Good Friday Agreement in all of its parts. So this will not be goodbye. I think if you do your job as effectively as I know you can, that as we in Ireland continue to plan and prepare for constitutional change in Ireland, that when Ireland is united and is a nation once again, that there will be MEPs in the European Parliament from the north of Ireland doing what we Irish Sinn Féin MEPs have been doing, standing up for people, defending their interest and making a difference to people's lives. Now, Chair, I'm sure that you will not be annoyed at me for correcting you a little bit, because I appreciate the fact that you have acknowledged all of the British MEPs who are being kicked out of the EU. I am an Irish citizen. I don't have one Irish passport. I have two Irish passports. This is my Irish diplomatic passport. So when you're acknowledging the MEPs, I am Irish. And just to remind people what it says in my Irish passport that I cherish, it is the entitlement and birthright of every person born on the island of Ireland, which includes its islands and its seas, to be part of the Irish nation. I quote, "So I am an EU rights holder, and therefore I am right that it is wrong. It is wrong to keep representatives from the north of Ireland out of the European Parliament. But once again, can I say, once again with impunity, Britannia waives the rules." And I want to say to you all, long live international solidarity, and thank you. Go ro mille agah. Thank you all on behalf of the people of Ireland, particularly the people of the north of Ireland. Do not abandon us. Remain vigilant in the time ahead. And I hope that some of you will be able to come and visit Ireland and visit the British border partition in Ireland and understand that we are on a journey and we are planning and preparing to return. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Anderson. I'm not a member of your group, but for me, also in the future, you will be the coordinator of GUE ad honorem. Then the last speaker is non-attached, Mr. Lowe. You have the floor.